Hey YouTube, na was geht ab? Der Genshin Dev Livestream, Alter, 6.0. Wir haben es hier, wir haben ihn heute gehabt, aber wir werden das heute ein bisschen anders machen, denn der Dev Livestream zu 6.0 war, naja, ein bisschen sehr lang mit über 1,5 Stunden. Das ist sehr, sehr viel. Und statt jetzt, wo ich das Video aufnehme, habe ich gerade gut viel gearbeitet. Ich bin erschöpft und ich habe nicht so viel Zeit. Deswegen dachte ich mir, ich will trotzdem drauf reacten. Also habe ich mir hier eine kleine Variante rausgesucht. Also so eine Summary, so eine Zusammenfassung von IWinToLose Gaming. Ja, der Channel und auch das Video von der Person ist natürlich unten verlinkt in der Videobeschreibung. Aber darauf reacten wir, denn das geht so ungefähr 19 Minuten und ich finde, das ist eine ganz gute Zeit. Das heißt, wir reacten da drauf. Ich weiß natürlich nicht, ob in dem Video alles von dem Dev-Livestream dabei ist, ne, weil 1,5 Stunden ist schon echt viel. Deswegen, wenn irgendwas dabei ist, was ich verpasse, weil es nicht in dem Video ist, dann schreibt es mir gerne in die Kommentare. Aber ich werde wahrscheinlich auch privat mich noch ein bisschen mehr über Notcry dann informieren. Aber ja, deswegen dachte ich mir, wir reacten einfach mal auf diese Zusammenfassung, dass wir es ein bisschen kleiner haben, weil, ich bin euch ehrlich, jetzt noch über 1,5 Stunden lang ein Video zu gucken, wo Leute auf Chinesisch reden, mit englischen Untertitel, hätte ich nicht hinbekommen. Aber gut, ich würde sagen, ich habe genug gelaufen, wir drücken mal Play und wir schauen uns an.
So 6.0's
Ja, hier.
Livestream just
Über
dropped,
1,5
and there's
Stunden,
some
Digga. Das
good,
Ding ist
there's some
geistkrank.
bad, and there's a lot of
Aber ich bin
crazy things
gespannt.
going on with Genshin Impact's huge upcoming
Weil das
update for
könnte gut werden, das könnte aber auch schlecht werden. Es kommt wirklich drauf an. Ein bisschen freue ich mich auf Notcry. Ich hoffe halt, dass sie es nicht verkacken.
Now, this video is going to be unscripted, but I'm going to go over, you know, the new stuff that I thought is pretty relevant to players such as myself, as well as, you know, hopefully a lot of you guys. And there's a lot of exciting stuff.
Ich bin echt gespannt, was auch da so das Gameplay ist. What the fuck? Nein, warte mal,
Let's quickly just go over some of the basic things that are coming. Here are the coupon codes on screen.
Okay, hier sind die Codes. I guess, wenn das Video rauskommt, wird die sie nicht mehr benutzen, aber hier werden die Codes.
And in terms of just some basic stuff that we're gonna get some huge, massive lore drops. Lore players are going to
deswegen will ich auch mir auf jeden Fall nochmal angucken, was alles passiert ist im Netland, weil das hier wird super krass von der Lore. Deswegen hoffe ich halt, dass das gut wird, weil hier sehr viel Lore kommen wird.
You know, a quick summary. Now, in terms of the new stuff that's coming,
okay,
we've got 2 new artifact sets, very likely Nodcry mechanics.
Ja, wahrscheinlich Elektro war rechts.
Okay,
weapons, ja.
One new event weapon.
All
this stuff, I'm hopefully going to make a guide for you guys pretty soon.
Okay, noch eine Free Weapon, sehr schön.
And everyone is also getting a free INO upon logging in, and we are getting 3 new characters with Llama,
ja.
INO. The first banner
ich wusste ja schon, dass die beiden kommen. Okay, wir kriegen Nahida.
As well as a
der Elektro-Guy ist in der zweiten Phase. Chronicle Banner für Dings.
And some of these characters are likely going to have some pretty decent synergy with Llama, who, as they mentioned,
das ist geil, dass Flins, glaube ich, hieß er, in der zweiten Phase
ist. For the second banner, we actually have Flins, and I know the new 4-star character is going to be on the second banner.
Flins will ich haben. Flins möchte ich auf jeden Fall haben.
Flins, of course, is going to be a lunar charged-based DPS character, it looks like.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm not going to go into too much detail on these characters, but do stay tuned for some upcoming
Weil auf ihn freue ich mich. Er sieht super cool aus. Er mit Yellen und so. Bruder. Quality of Life. Das ist ein wichtiger Punkt.
Let's talk about a couple pretty nice quality of life. It looks like the Nodcry compass is going to be quite overpowered, as we can see here. It's displaying like everything on the map, which is absolutely fantastic. And this might
sogar
die actually explore quite a bit, but we will have to see. And an incredible quality of life feature is actually being able to preview the 4th stat in an artifact before you even enhance it. And this will actually save you a lot of resources.
Das ist insane. Weil dann, weil ich weiß, das ist nicht der zweite Crit-Stat, den ich brauche, dann muss ich es gar nicht leveln.
Is obviously a waste of resources and a waste of time, and this is fantastic that they are indeed doing away with that by being able to preview this 4th line. So great quality of life, both in terms of resources saved as well as time saved. And I'm really glad they added this feature. And we can also see the resin upgrades And needless to say, this is going to be a great quality of life upgrade, as you know, people are just more busy these days. At least I feel like they are. And resin upgrades, we can now spend 40 instead of 20, and condensed resin will now condense for 60 resin each. Now I'm actually really curious to see what happens to, let's say we bring over 5 condensed resin going into version 6.0. Do we actually get 100 free resin like this? Regardless, I'm personally going to craft 5 before the patch ends.
Same.
Another minor quality of life that frankly should just be permanent, but it's nice it is temporary at the beginning of the patch, is a temporary lift on the time restrictions on materials.
Oh mein Gott, was?
So now no need to wait for like potentially 3 days or whatever it is.
Oh mein fucking Gott.
Materials or
mach das permanent.
Characters. Now, in terms of some other...
Da muss ich kurz sogar pausieren. Ich sage seit Jahren, wie unfassbar albern das ist, dass es nur an bestimmten Tagen möglich ist, Sachen zu farmen. Das ist so unglaublich dumm. Und ich will, dass das immer möglich ist. Es ist anscheinend nur ein Testing, aber bitte, bitte, bitte macht das permanent. Wir brauchen das. Weil wenn zum Beispiel dann Flints rauskommt, will ich auch direkt Flints farmen können. Ich kann zwar pre-farmen, aber ich werde nie schaffen, die Talente komplett zu pre-farmen meist. Und ich möchte halt an dem Tag vielleicht auch farmen. Und ich habe super viel noch Condensed Resin und so ein Kram und diese Monde. Lasst die mich nutzen und einfach am Tag farmen, wenn ich will.
New content, particularly combat. I'm not going to go into all the Nod Cry shenanigans that's going on, but of course there's going to be new stuff in Nod Cry.
Ich hoffe, jetzt zeigt ein bisschen
like,
Area.
For example, you can become a Roomba. You can of course fight all the new Fatuis, and there are 2 new world bosses that you'll have to beat up in order to farm stuff for the new characters to ascend them. Then Imaginarium Theater is getting another new difficulty, which could potentially make Imaginarium Theater one of the most difficult endgame modes.
Holy moly, Digga, der Modus ist ja...
Seems like the easiest of the endgame modes, but you have to let me know if you agree or disagree with that statement. But yeah, so now you might need up to 28 characters to deal with the new Imaginarium Theater final mode, where you will also be able to collect Arcana cards or something like that, which seem to be just collectibles that you can trade with your card trading friends if you have any friends, unlike me.
Okay. The big stuff.
Okay, and now we've reached the big news for this patch, and some of this stuff is great, and some of this stuff is a little bit crazy and not so great. So the big news is, first we are getting a free standard banner selector.
Oh, what the
And now, of course, they have added Mizuki to
Ja, ich werde mir sowas von einem Mizuki holen, hä?
Able to select Mizuki. That's who I'm going to select because all my other standard banner characters are at Constellation 6.
Ja, bei mir halt zwar nicht, aber ich hab die alle. Ja, ich nehme Mizuki, hä? What the fuck?
But we are also getting a constellation selector where you'll have to participate in, I believe they said, 12 weeks of daily stuff in order to unlock this constellation thing. And they also mentioned that this thing is basically recurring. So we're actually going to be able to select up to 4 of these constellation selectors from a limited cast of characters. We can also see that it's
von einem Charakter einfach so.
We don't have. We might not be able to select their constellation, which might mean you can't just like, you know, get them for free effectively. You have to have the character
warte mal, hallo?
Select their constellation. Now, some of these characters are, of course, a bit better than others, but most of these characters are indeed a bit old, and also many of these characters actually require their Constellation 2 to really hit, you know,
das ist insane.
To get their constellations or
Wenn du,
not.
also,
so, yeah,
nur von den Charakteren oder von allgemein allen?
Direction, in my opinion, I have been saying that, you know, Genshin Impact should give just a universal constellation, at the very least 1 per year, in my opinion, so that way, you know, people can, of course, just choose a constellation for whatever character they want. But this is already a pretty decent addition to the game.
Whoa!
Now, it is absolutely worth mentioning that you cannot select the same character's constellation multiple times over the span of, well, I believe a year or so.
Okay.
So, in other words, no constellation for Ayato for you to get that much closer to the Constellation 6 Boba Slash that he has. Now this next part is
trotzdem eine Constellation
crazy, and it is the Masterless Stella Fortuna. Okay, I'm not sure how to say it. But when you use this item on a character, you will increase their level from level 90 to level 95 at the cost of 1 Masterless Stella Fortuna, or if you spend 2 Masterless Stella Fortuna, you can bring them from level 95
Okay, das heißt, wir müssen dann 3 Stück, um ihn von auf 100 zu
the
machen.
catch is, how the heck do you get these?
Ja.
Well, fortunately for all of you whales like myself, you get these from a 5-star character Constellation 6 plus dupes. And what's crazy about
What? Warum? Also warum?
this is that this is actually retroactive. Because this is retroactive for players like myself who probably got Constellation 20 Chi-Chi, I should be getting 14 of these from Chi-Chi alone, and who knows how many from all the other standard banner character Constellation 6s that I've lost over the years.
Bullshit?
Now my question is, how many do you think you're gonna get of these? Let me
Ja, 0. 0. Ich hab nicht ein 5-Star auf C6. Ich glaube, ich bin bei Jean und Diluc fast davor, dass ich sie überhaupt auf C6 habe. Und das nach 3 Jahren Free-to-Play oder so. Was ein Bullshit. Also, legit, das ist so ein Bullshit. Das ist ja so dumm. Das heißt, Leute, die super viel Pain dürfen mit Level 100 Charakteren rumrennen. Und wir nicht? Oder wie? Ich bete, dass das kein Problem wird von den Enemies her. Halt, wenn die der Meinung sind, oh ja, wenn ihr jetzt Level 100 seid, lol, dann, und C6 habt, dann könnt ihr alles besiegen.
Let me know down in the comments below if you guys have Constellation 6 standard banner characters that you have, you know, gotten past
Ja, ich finde, das Ding ist, ich verstehe dieses Konzept nicht. Ich verstehe dieses Konzept überhaupt nicht, halt. Weil, wenn die Enemies halt nicht stärker machen, dann wo ist der Grund, nochmal Level-Ding zu machen? Was soll das? So, hä?
Constellation 6 in order to get any of these retroactively. My guess is that a lot of you guys won't even get a single one of these, so your character's going to be stuck at level 90. Whereas for whales like myself, or for, you know, very long time free-to-play players that might have a Constellation 10 to Luke or something, then yeah, you guys might get a few of them. So I'm super curious to see.
Dazu, selbst als Free-to-Play finde ich das albern, weil, angenommen, ich krieg jetzt noch eine Constellation bei Jean, hab CC6. Und kriegt dann irgendwie nochmal 3-mal Jean, um so ein Teil zu bekommen. Und kann einen Charakter auf Level 100 machen. Ja, Digga, für wen entscheide ich mich denn bitte?
How many of them you're gonna get down below. Now, they showcase this for Traveler as well as Flynn's. And I'm assuming that we can use this on 4-star characters as well, like for example Bennett, to provide a bit bigger of an attack buff. But we can see the scaling on Traveler is this, with a 4.6 increase to the Traveler's base attack going from level 90 to 95, and a 9.3% total increase going from level 90 to 100 to the Traveler's base attack. Meanwhile, Flynn's, on the other hand, is actually gaining around 10% of his base attack, going from level 90 to 95, and 21% of his base attack going from level 90 to level 100. Therefore, I guess making Flynn's benefit more than Traveler, most likely, at least in terms of his damage output. We can also see for both of these attack scaling characters that their base HP and base defense go up by significantly less, at around 3.5-ish%.
So einen Waste an der angenommen Whale übel für die Charakter und dann mit den Constellations danach holst du dir
for perhaps HP
richtig
scalers
Damage mehr
in
oder
their,
so.
well, you know, base HP, or perhaps a bigger increase in their base defense for defense scalers, but ultimately we will just have to see. It also appears like their ascension stat, like for example, it could be crit rate or attack percent or elemental mastery, that does not appear to be getting boosted, but of course we will have to see when we actually get this feature. Now, I did some very, very speculative math in terms of how much damage, you know, a character like Skirk will gain if, you know, you go up from level 90 to 95 and up to level 100. And I'm basing it off of the ratio of, you know, Flynn's base attack going up, as well as
an dem Punkt whatever, halt ob du jetzt 1,7 Millionen machst oder 1,8 Millionen machst, ist halt, ne?
Base attack increase, as well as the fact that the character's level increases and thus, you know, closes the gap a bit for the defense multiplier, Skirk would gain, assuming she gains, you know, roughly the same amount of base attack as Flynn's does, she'd gain about 4.5% increase to her damage output, going from level 90 to 95, or 9.2% damage output if she goes from level 90 to 100. Alternatively, if we use Traveler's base attack scaling going from level 90-95 to level 100. Then Skirk will do about 2.8% more damage going from 90 to 95 and 5.5% more damage going from 90 to 100. So we can see here that there's definitely going to be different levels of scaling
so ein
for
useless Feature, wo ich mich frage, warum investieren wir Ressourcen und Zeit in Machen von so einem Feature, statt einfach Sachen wie Weekly-Bosse mal zu fixen mit den Blocks.
Being 9.2% versus 5.5% is quite significant, and of course with the endgame mode becoming more and more.
Ja, wahrscheinlich machen sie es eher für die mental Instabilen, weil Leute, die einfach, keine Ahnung, denken, sie haben eine Girlfriend oder einen Boyfriend in Genshin, denken sich dann, no, nein, mein Charakter ist Level 90 auf C6, ich muss jetzt Geld ausgeben, um ihn auf Level 100 zu machen.
I'm looking forward to that one the least. Yeah, I mean, this type of power increase, will be helpful. However, my issue here, and it's a really big issue, is that this seems limited to whales and, or at the very least, super long-time players. And I'm not the biggest fan of that, but I'll talk a bit more about that in a bit. And this doesn't even cover the transformative reaction improvements, which goes honestly pretty crazy.
Wait, what?
Transformative reactions, in case you're not aware, they have a base damage number based on what level your character is at, and on the Genshin wiki they actually have the data for level 90 as well as for level 95 and for level 100. And for those of you that might be a bit more aware about, like the theory crafting in Genshin Impact, basically transformative reactions like, for example, Bloom, Overloaded, Electrocharged, these things, they deal significantly more damage as you level up your characters, which is why it's important to, for example, level a character like Kuki Shinobu, a Hyper Boom driver, to level 90. And we can see here that going from 90 to 95 provides an increase to the level multiplier by about 18.3%, and going up to level 100 provides a whopping 40% increase to the base level multiplier in comparison to a level 90 character.
Bruder, so, das ist ein Team aus 4 Level 100er Charakteren mit einem Bloom, Hyperbloom-Team oder so, halt absolut insane.
Bloom, Burgeon, Overloaded, etc. triggers to level 100. So this is, in a way, a buff to transformative reaction damage, but again, limited to those of you guys who are able to get the Masterless Stella for Chana item. So yeah, I find this to be some really interesting decisions here, especially in terms of the end game meta, as well as the way that they handle the level cap increase. Personally, when it comes to something like a character's level, I mean, we already have dupes with constellations, giving characters significant power gains. When it comes to character level cap breaking, making it gated behind Constellation 6 character dupes, while it is, I guess, a good bone to throw to whales, personally, I'm a bit sad that it doesn't seem to be that accessible to free-to-play players, as well as, especially newer players that certainly don't have,
besonders weil wir nach
at Constellation 6
5 Jahren oder so, wie das Spiel jetzt draußen ist,
so yeah, there are
oder
some
4 Jahren,
pay-to-win concerns here.
kriegen wir ein neues Level
Impact, you're not really winning
und dann können es Free-to-Plays halt einfach nicht bekommen.
And really, this could be considered pay to make it easier. Now, in my humble opinion, personally, I think they need to give these out for free, perhaps 1 to 3 of these per patch for everyone, because, us whales, we're still going to try to, use these to get more characters up to level 100 than not, whereas free-to-plays and stuff like that, they can bring their, very few favorite characters that they want up to level 100. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about how they handled this level cap increase. Again, personally, I'm not the biggest fan, and also please take the calcs with a giant grain of salt. But at the same time, Genshin Impact is a pretty casual game when it comes to combat and stuff like that, and a lot of the, endgame
Deswegen hoffe ich halt einfach, dass die
that
Story
critical
wirklich
for,
gut gemacht
for
wird
example, account
und auch gut
progression, like you
erzählt
don't
wird.
need to clear difficulty 5 or 6.
Weil
to get most
das
of
ist
the
wirklich das,
benefits
was mir
from
am wichtigsten
Season
einfach ist,
Onslaught,
Lore.
yada yada yada.
In
However,
dem Ding
it
da.
is unfortunate that, for example, we are indeed getting more rewards through these endgame modes, as well as the more difficult content that's coming. Now, a couple more interesting things that are worth mentioning are the new UGC gameplay mode, which frankly, this looks quite impressive and quite promising. You can see here the various cosmetic designs and customization for the characters. They even have a pineapple character, and these characters look very, very different from each other. I'm assuming that cosmetics and stuff, you get some free ones, but you'll also have a cosmetic gacha in order to make your character look goofy or however you want, and that's likely going to be the way that they monetize this gameplay mode. We can even see a ton of inspiration. We have Overcooked, board games, tower defense, like the go-kart racing game. I forget what it's called, where you kick a soccer ball in a race car or something. You've got Fall Guys, League of Legends, first-person shooter games. I mean, this looks like Roblox, but with anime girls. And one concern and issue that I have with this is I'm not seeing any of the usual cast of characters in this gameplay mode, which could be a bit unfortunate. And yeah, we might not be able to craft the actual endgame mode and endgame combat that, you know, players like myself have been wanting for a long time. Like, I've just been wanting a DPS test dummy for the longest time, and if we can't bring in our usual cast of characters into this gameplay mode, that is going to be unfortunate in my opinion. However, regardless, outside of that, it looks quite promising with the various content that people can create, and I'm really excited to see what people cook up with this gameplay mode. And yeah, that about covers it for version 6.0's live stream. There's some good, there's some questionable stuff with a level cap, but overall, in my opinion, this patch does look great, and I'm personally super excited to, you know, enjoy and experience Nodcry with you all. Let me know what you think about all this stuff down in the comments below, ranging from the free 5-star selector to the free consolation to the level cap increase going from level 90 to 100. And again, let us know how many of those stellar Fortuna things you expect to get retroactively once 6.0 rolls around. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. This is IWinToLose signing out.
Alright, aber das Video geht zwar schon ein bisschen länger, aber ich würde sagen, wir haben hier noch eine Kleinigkeit. Und zwar denke ich mal, ich möchte hier noch gerne den Trailer von dem Update reinhauen. Weil er hat jetzt gut was erzählt, wir haben gut was erfahren, aber ich würde gerne noch den Trailer gucken, einfach nur um auch ein bisschen mehr zu sehen und vielleicht auch von der Area was zu sehen und allem. Deswegen würde ich sagen, wir gucken uns den Trailer an und schauen mal, was da abgeht. Denn den habe ich auch noch nicht gesehen.
This is where our spaceship landed when Lumine and I first arrived in Tavad. All I remember is Lumine waking me up and us leaving the ship.
What?
The wild hunt came.
Der kannst ja nicht damit den Trailer anfangen.
All the graves.
Lighthouse. Hope. Everlasting night.
Look upon my flame. Return to your graves and forever rest in peace.
Der Flitzes.
Be silent. To dust. The long
Ja, wirklich, ich liebe Flint seine Ult auch. Flint ist so ein geiler Charakter.
Viewing the world
Ich
through
möchte ihn
human
wirklich auf
eyes
jeden
is
Fall
like
pullen.
looking into a kaleidoscope. It is so complex.
Ich mag
and
auch seinen Voice Actor. Er hat einen guten
so
Voice Actor.
beautiful.
Ich glaube sogar, er hat einen coolen Voice Actor gehabt in JP.
Welcome to Nodcry,
Wait, what the
Dominion
fuck?
of the Fatigue. Please, here we go. And if you ever need
Warum ist
anything else,
die hier?
don't forget to make the great Lord Simon Obey your first port of call.
Interesting. Sincere apologies. I am unable to come down and greet you at the present moment. I will have to converse from up here.
Do either of you need my help with anything? Anything at all? After all, I'm the head of this household.
Aber das ist der neue Forster. Ich find's cool, dass sie for free ist. Ich bin gespannt, was sie wirklich kann.
Flash attack!
Kuvaki. It is a unique elemental force found only in Nodcry, or rather, a pure, primordial form of elemental energy.
They say that each of their moon chanters has had access to an ancient relic that lets them see the true past.
I am still trying to piece together the many fragments of our past. It is a story not only of the Frost Moon Scions, but also of the moons themselves. We Frost Moon Scions are the last descendants of the
Sie sieht auch
ancient
echt
golden
nice aus,
realm
ne?
of Hyperborea. Follow me and bask in the soft light of the moon.
Aber werde ich wahrscheinlich nicht pullen. Oder nicht pullen können, weil ich auf Blinz will.
Forest, protect us. For the everlasting forest. It is also said that when the moons shattered, most of their fragments rained down upon this land like stardust. Yet, successive generations of Frost Moon Scions have always passed down a prophecy that one day the moon goddess would return. That prophecy did indeed come to pass, though not quite.
Sie?
Still wish to
Wait,
return
sie
to
ist die...
the moon.
Nein, aber sie ist doch bei der Fatui, oder?
The Fatui built their research facility on top of the remnant over on Paha Isle, but they've had their sights set on the one here.
Wer ist das da
too.
oben? Wer ist das da oben?
The sacred relic of the Frost Moon Scions. It's been stolen.
Today's encounter is merely a courtesy call, a friendly warning, if you will. I strongly advise you not to stand in the Fatui's way.
The Frost Moon Scions will never hand over anything to the Fatui. With your blood, we shall draw an inviolable line in the snow.
No irregularities detected in the duct. You're wrong.
Damn.
Just
Bro,
because
wenn
not
die
crime
playable
is
wären, wäre das so
present,
cool.
that does
So eine
not mean
Roboter,
it should not be.
Digga. Also dieser
The
große.
Fatui are simply establishing a new order.
Kuvaki ammunition fully loaded. Assessing risk level maximum.
The Curatorium of Secrets has always striven to abide by a policy of strict neutrality. We do not take sides with any faction in Not Cry.
I suspect your spaceship has been intentionally hidden away.
Are you wondering if your sister might be in cahoots with the Fatui?
I'm not asking you to trust me. Just don't try and stop me. Take care. The moon can be treacherous.
Damn. Ja, und das war alles erstmal soweit zu 6.0 Not Cry. Sieht doch erstmal ganz cool aus. Also ich muss wirklich sagen, sieht ganz nice aus. Ich habe bestimmt Sachen verpasst halt. Es gab bestimmt Infos im Livestream, die ich jetzt durch die Reactions nicht bekommen habe. Und die könnt ihr natürlich auch gerne in die Kommentare schreiben. Overall aber ziemlich cool. Ich muss sagen, was auch IWinToLose Gaming gesagt hat, ich finde das dumm mit dem halt Level 100 machen. Dass das nur für Whales mainly ist albern. Ich verstehe auch einfach nicht, wofür das da sein soll. Also halt, ne, wenn ihr das Spiel nicht drauf balancen auf Level 100, dann wo ist der Grund, Level 100 zu machen unbedingt? Also halt, ne, wir haben genug Baustellen in dem Spiel. Ich finde es gut, dass sie endlich mal in Angriff nehmen, dieses Zeitlimit oder dieses Taglimit zu entfernen. Ich bete ja dafür, dass sie dann auch Weekly-Bosse fixen, denn ich finde es albern, dass wir einen Weekly-Boss einmal in der Woche machen können und beten müssen, dass wir aus 3 Drops den richtigen bekommen, den wir brauchen. Was damals auch nur ein Drop oder 2 vielleicht mal sind, während man wesentlich mehr braucht. Während in allen anderen IWinToLose Games du einen Boss machst, der immer das gleiche droppt, und dann kannst du 3-mal machen und kannst 9 Drops innerhalb von einer Woche farmen und kannst innerhalb von 2 Wochen den Charakter komplett fertig bilden. In anderen Games. Aber gut, overall sieht ganz cool aus. Die Events, ja, haben wir jetzt zwar nicht gesehen, aber das werden wir auch so sehen. Die Charakter sind excited und ich werde mich natürlich noch so ein bisschen informieren und ich freue mich schon eigentlich drauf. Ich hoffe, ihr wollt euch auch, wenn ihr das doch gerne liked, aber da würde mich mega freuen. Ja, Leute, dann würde ich sagen, wir sehen uns im nächsten Video wieder. Ja, dann würde ich sagen, und damit, ciao.